We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Across America, small towns like Canyon County, Idaho, and Prattville, Alabama, marked their first Pride events, defying challenges with overwhelming community support.
MCC Africa praises Fort Lauderdale's Sunshine Cathedral for its LGBTQ+ initiatives and Sunday service broadcast that encourages queer community amid the fight for queer rights. They hold a light up to America's LGBTQ+ faith as a model for what's happening in Africa.
U.S. District Judge Robert Hinkle rejects a stay upholding access to vital transgender medical treatments amid ongoing legal disputes.
Director Thomas Jolly brings his LGBTQ+ perspectives as the director of the Paris Olympics opening and closing ceremonies, promising memorable, inclusive spectacles.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we have had more than 9 million views because of you. It is Monday, July 15th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
Welcome back to Queer News Tonight, and we must take a moment to wish the creator of this incredible news program, Al Ferguson, a very happy birthday. We adore you, Al Ferguson. Happy birthday. And now Jamaal will sing his best rendition of Happy Birthday. Here we go. Me. Go.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Happy birthday, Al. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it. Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture, the Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students, youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. See, nobody else wanted to sing it but me, Al. You see? Who loves you? I do. FayWhat loves you, all right? Happy birthday. And I didn't tell any of these scumbags here how old you really are. 'Cause that's how much I love you. All right? I wouldn't be me without you, so I adore you. Happy birthday.
You old queen.
You old queen, says Dan. All right?
I can say that because I'm old.
All right, let's meet tonight's anchors around the table at Queer News Tonight. We'll begin by my brother, Jamaal Starks, a.k.a. Porcelain. Look at that skin. Jamaal is the president of Impulse Group Miami, a spiritualist, wellness advocate, a coach, and he also walks as sex siren in the barroom scene with the House of Gorgeous Gucci. He's a board member of the Legacy Builders Consulting Group. I love all those people over there. They're just amazing. And is a certified yoga instructor at the Miami Life Center in Wynwood. Jamaal, Gender Bender summer sessions are coming up. Tell me about it.
So, welcome to Gramps.
Welcome to Gramps? Welcome to Gramps. Gender Blender.
I got totally thrown off. But Gender Blender is back, Gramps. We are changing the times to sunset instead of late at night. So this gives all of you guys and gals who go to our house, it gives you a chance to come around and come see more drag performances like Sin Silva, Cosmic Divinity,
Auntie Mame.
Auntie Mame, who is hosting.
Yes.
With Carlos.
Carlos Croqueta there.
Yeah, Party Carlos, his Instagram, follow him. He is also the director of events for Impulse, and Impulse is sponsoring. So come on out the 28th, Sunset, Wynwood.
Go check it out and go every day, because people were bitching that it was too late, and now it's going to start earlier for you, all right? So there's no reason for you not to go to your happy hour and then get on over to Gramps and enjoy the show.
Yes.
Next up, let's welcome Dale Stine, my big brother. He's right here sitting to my left, so I can't do anything bad. Ish. A celebrated photographer in the LGBTQ plus community. He is the director of music ministry at the famous Unity on the Bay and a moderator of Miami Gay List, one of South Florida's largest LGBTQ plus Facebook groups, which can also be found on IG as @QueerListOfficial. Dale, so the human trafficking Red SN event is on July 27th. Clear that up for me, okay? You're the vice chair of the Miami Beach Human Rights Committee, which is holding an important event. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, it's called the Red Sand Project, and there's a beautiful website. It's an organization to bring awareness to human trafficking, which is a huge issue in this country, and especially in South Florida. Not just sex trafficking, but labor trafficking, all kinds of trafficking. And we're doing this supported very strongly by the city of Miami Beach. It will be in Pride Park on July 27th. From 5 to 7 p.m. And you can see on your screen there's a photo of a young girl there with the red sand. And actually the sand is not actual sand. It's made to be biodegradable. The idea is that we'll be putting the sand in the cracks of the sidewalks, and it's to symbolize the people that have slipped through the cracks because of human trafficking.
Wow.
We'll have a lot of organizations there and a lot of the commissioners from Miami Beach. Pride Lines will be there. Transsocial will be there. Unity Coalition, a lot of other organizations, but it's going to be quite a moving event.
And so important, Dale, because human trafficking, I read somewhere that Miami is like one of the top three places where, it's just so, it's awful. We're such an international hub, right? Yeah. And for that reason, we have so many people from everywhere.
An entryway to the
yes, and it's scary. Thank you so much for that. It's a very important event to have. Next up, let's welcome Alex Morash. Alex has written for The Advocate and served as editor-in-chief of Options magazine. He has also served as media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force that we love and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome back, Alex. I'm so glad to work with you finally. How are you, sir?
I'm well. I'm enjoying my time here. You've been really fun to get to know so far. How are you doing?
Good. I'm only nice the first time you meet me. Ask them.
And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat, though I don't say it as well as I know many others do. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, birthday singer, and the host of the FayWhat show on Mondays at Hotspots Magazine's Happening Out. Faye, Visit Fort Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival is organizing Xmas in July charity drag brunch at Funky Buddha on July 28th. Tell me what's going on, Faye.
Yes, baby. So Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival help raise money for the upcoming 14th annual Undercover Santa Holiday Grocery Gift Card and Toy Drive for deserving families in Fort Lauderdale. It's happening at Funky Buddha, 1230 Northeast 38th Street, Fort Lauderdale. This adult humor drag show will have you laughing and singing along for a great cause. Remember to bring your dollars to tip the ladies, all right? There's a silent auction, a raffle, a holiday decor, and other mid-year Yuletide tidbits in store for you. This is the brainchild of Bill Schultz, Chief of Police of Fort Lauderdale, that we just love, all right? Nicole Hollowell is your host, so you know it's going to be fire, baby. An afternoon of holiday fun with South Florida's drag superstars at Funky Buddha. Each ticket includes a $20 charity donation, brunch buffet, and show admission. July 28th, Funky Buddha. The seating starts at 11:30 a.m., 12:30 the show starts. Get your tickets at Eventbrite under Undercover Santa Fundraiser. See you then. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, July 15th, 2024. Let's begin this evening by queering up gay culture. Small towns across America embrace first Pride celebrations in 2024. As Pride Month concluded this year, a wave of historic firsts swept through small towns across the U.S., marking a significant milestone in LGBTQ plus visibility and community acceptance. Among these towns was Canyon County, Idaho, where initial apprehensions gave way to overwhelming success. Tom Wheeler, a lead organizer of this pride, faced threats of violence. However, despite the concerns, the event exceeded all expectations. Van Knapp, another key organizer, said, quote, "We expected a couple hundred people and had over 3,000, end quote, reflecting on the profound impact of organizing Canyon County's inaugural Pride Festival. In Prattville, Alabama, another milestone was celebrated as the LGBTQ plus organization Prattville Pride orchestrated its first Pride event. This achievement garnered national recognition, with GLAAD and Good Morning America presenting Prattville Pride a special recognition award. These milestones were achieved amid heightened security measures. Concerns raised by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security regarding potential threats to 2024 Pride celebrations. However, more than 20 new Pride festivals occurred peacefully across the country. Let's say their names loud and proud, like Seward, Little Rock, Fremont, Mission Viejo, Bunno, Topeka, Henderson, Park Ridge, Rockford, Whiting, I see you, Manville, Garrett County, Concord, I see you, Hastings, Warren, Grand Rapids, South St. Paul, Haywood, Hermiston, Lake Oswego, Ross Township, Fort Bend County, Park City, Woodstock, and Harper's Ferry. We see you, baby. You make our entire community proud. You know, I'm originally from New York, and we've got pride parades for everybody, right? All the boroughs have their own pride, right? And I can always remember people saying, oh, we have too many prides, right? Then I moved down here, right? And then we got Hollywood Pride, and we got Miami Beach Pride, and we got all these wonderful prides. And honestly, I don't get tired of them, and I want more. The representation is needed. The visibility is important. People from these small towns need to know that gay people are everywhere. LGBTQ plus people are everywhere. To those people that say, oh, there's no gay people in my town. Oh, baby, you are sorely mistaken. You know, so I love that we gave these cities a spotlight because they deserve it. You know, the first year is off and you did it. Now what's next? Year 2 needs to be bigger and better than ever. All right, make it happen and keep on shining because we need it, especially this year.
It's very positive to see what's going on with local prides, but also I think it's an important issue when talking about like the size of them. Like the first piece I ever did in The Advocate was actually talking about the corporatization of the big city prides, New York, Boston, DC. But I know many people that organize small prides, and they don't get all the big money and support that all the big cities do. So like, I really hope that people pay attention to this and try and find ways to support local prides in ways that we haven't think. We can't rely and assume that JetBlue is going to fund every single local pride in America. We have to step up and do more on it.
Yeah, I love that there's so many of these towns I've never even heard of.
Right?
I'm like, it's amazing, but what you say is so true. We're everywhere, and it's so important that people see that because representation matters. And you don't really know until you know. Yeah. I mean, it's just like a no-brainer, but it's so amazing. And also, especially in this current climate, it's super important.
Yeah.
It's like you guys just read all my notes that I wrote down on the story. No, but I have more.
Okay.
The story that we did last week or a week before about mental health and how important it is, the therapist from Minneapolis, how important it is to community to continually have these prides for people's mental health. Yeah. And just to your point, thinking about people in those small towns who don't get exhausted by prides like we do, you know, they want to be exhausted by their representation. And I say at this point in this current climate, I wrote down the word rebellion. Rebel. Like
a protest.
Yes. It's a protest because your existence is a protest. Your existence is a political statement. And so it's just lovely to see that these places that I've never heard of. And I've been all around the United States. I've been to all but 2. And to hear these places sparking up and getting the movement is still continuing. So this matters. This shows us that this matters. All of this matters.
It matters, and there's strength in numbers.
Yes.
You know, and I just think about these towns being Trump country, for example, right? And maybe these people never met a gay person, and then they see us out in full force, and they're like, wait a minute, they can't be all bad. Let me talk to one. That's my hairstylist. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, because we're everywhere. We're everywhere. So kudos to these prides. Make it happen.
Next, let's queer up the worldview. America's Sunshine Cathedral is a beacon of hope for African LGBTQ faith communities. Yesterday, MCC Africa Network, or the Africa Network of Metropolitan Community Churches, posted on its Facebook page praise for the LGBTQ faith and how it is celebrated in the United States. As previously reported by Queer News Tonight, no region in the world has faced more challenges to the LGBTQ community than in Africa. Countries like Uganda, Nigeria, and Kenya have implemented draconian measures against the gay community that can even include the death penalty. MCC Africa Network stands up for LGBTQ plus social justice through faith and religion. Sharon Cox Ludwig, director of the Africa Network, drew attention for the entire African continent of how American organizations celebrate LGBTQ faith and social justice. The post specifically drew the attention to Sunshine Cathedral of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Speaking to their Facebook community, she said, quote, "Perhaps you haven't attended a service in a while. Maybe it's a very long while because of the harm that organized religion has done to you. We invite you to immerse yourself in the service this evening of Sunshine Cathedral. We bet you would seldom, if ever, have had this text preached on. Enjoy the worship. Enjoy the musical talent. Enjoy the powerful message from our beloved friends in this community." End quote. Then the post included the Sunday service link produced by Happening Out Television Network. Ludwig is based in South Africa, a country that is a beacon of LGBTQ plus rights in Africa. Unlike most of the 54 countries in Africa, since 2006, South Africa has embraced same-sex marriage and sets a progressive example on the continent. In contrast, 33 African nations uphold criminalizing same-sex relations, remnants of colonial-era statutes with vague and archaic language. Cameroon vigorously enforces Penal Code Section 347, punishing same-sex relations with up to 5 years imprisonment. In Tunisia, LGBTQ plus activists face persecution, including arbitrary arrests and assaults. In Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, and Tanzania, leaders have intensified rhetoric against LGBTQ plus communities and even calling for the death penalty. Under such grim circumstances, it is hard for LGBTQ Africans to stand against such oppression. It is why this attention was so emotional. It attracts the queer faith community's attention to Sunshine Cathedral, calling it a beacon of hope for LGBTQ plus people in Africa, and encouraging the African queer faith community to watch the Sunday Live service broadcast. It is very inspiring to witness how a queer-friendly church in Fort Lauderdale has become a source of strength and inspiration to people in Africa. Queer people that desperately look to organizations in America like Sunshine Cathedral. Well, this is very emotional and it's also beautiful. This is gorgeous that we're sitting in Sunshine Cathedral right now, filming this. And this is, watch this. I send out my beacon of hope to LGBTQ plus people in Africa. And also I want to draw attention to how just because we're gay, just because we have these identities, don't mean we don't have faith.
Yes.
Right.
Like, it does not mean that we are ostracized, that we don't have a spiritual center.
Yeah.
You know, as a spiritualist, people are very off-put. Like, how did you come to this? How did you? And I'm like, through my queerness.
Oh my God.
It is literally the foundation or the center of how I have come to know spirituality. And it is available for all. Oh. And I love that we are sitting in this church right now. And I love all of the things. Every time I come here, there's something going on. There's, feeding the homeless, and then the bringing people here who have been marginalized. They do so much here, and it's just beautiful that this is reaching across the pond into places and touching lives that who are very oppressed and not able to have even the perception that queer people have this. The representation matters. So I'm just really happy to have read that story. It's really moving and beautiful.
What some people must have gone through in Africa for just being their true authentic
And
self,
still go-
right?
and
Still go
going
through,
yeah.
excuse me, you know, you end up in jail for 5 years, and that could be the latter, right? Because you could end up dead for just
Right.
loving who you love. Kudos to all the MCCs and to Sunshine Cathedral. You know, me and Dale are part of a non-denominational church, Unity on the Bay, and you know, we attract a lot of LGBTQ plus people because just like what Jamaal said, you know, for some reason, LGBTQ plus people feel that religion, we don't deserve it. Right? Because we've been marginalized for so long, because we're told since inception, you know, you're an abomination and you're going to hell. Because of that, we completely made a left face and just said, no more religion for many of us. And then when you see, at least, I can only talk for me, Dale, but like I've seen queer people come to Unity on the Bay and just start bawling, just bawl their eyes out because they're finally somewhere safe. They see, they're seen, and they're accepted. We use the same Bible everybody else does.
Right. We just interpret it differently.
We just don't, yeah.
To be more like Jesus rather than being less like Jesus. The way we call Jesus the way shower. You know, so to be more like Jesus, and this is more like Jesus. Inclusivity, helping, reaching a hand out to the oppressed, not shunning the oppressed, making a difference, making a way for those people.
And this also, sorry to cut you off. This also goes out to every oppressed queer person in the world. I want to expand this outside of even Africa. Just any place in the world that condemns who you are and whose you are, know that you can have access to joy, and because that's what religion and spirituality eventually leads us to: joy, liberation, and all of the things that we want to feel, the happiness, etc. And know that you are worthy of these things. Like that is a huge healing balm that needs to come over a lot of LGBTQ plus people, that you are worthy of things, you are worthy of joy, you are worthy of feeling valued even when you don't.
Yeah. Adam?
Alex.
Alex?
No, I was going to just add that,
Sorry,
like,
Alex. I apologize. I don't know. Now you're going to be Adam for the rest of the show. No, I'm joking. Alex, I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to add, it was nice to see a positive story when talking about Africa. Too often, U.S. media companies are still set in this very American imperialist, racist attitude towards viewing Africa as a third world, and to show that actually there's a lot of positive things and workings and places going on in Africa. It was just nice to see a positive story for once. You know, as in media, we just don't see it enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And one last thing, Robert and Darrell are just incredible reverends here at Sunshine Cathedral. You know, their focus has always been global, has always been touch that LGBTQ plus person that feels that religion is not for them and that we're not here for them, and show them that they're wrong and that we are here for you and that you are enough. So kudos to both of you. Darrell is actually over at Unity Village right now.
Oh, he is?
At a conference.
Yes.
And you know, they're just incredible people. Keep doing what you're doing because so many of us need you. We just do. Thank you.
Next, let's queer up the court. Federal judge denies stay on Florida's ban on gender-affirming care. In a pivotal decision, U.S. District Judge Robert Henkel has refused to stay his ruling invalidating Florida's restrictions on gender-affirming care. It is a move that maintains access to crucial medical treatments for transgender individuals amid ongoing legal battles. Judge Henkel emphasized that delaying his decision would inflict needless suffering on transgender Floridians, citing increased risk of anxiety, depression, and suicide. He underscored the absence of any compelling state interest justifying a stay, noting that Florida previously supported gender-affirming care for years without issue. The controversial ban, implemented in March of 2023 under directives from Governor Ron DeSantis and Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, received legislative backing through SB 254, which imposed strict penalties on medical providers offering such care. This included severe restrictions on telehealth and onerous consent requirements, effectively limiting access for both minors and adults. The lawsuit challenging these measures was filed by 4 transgender adults and 7 parents of transgender minors. They were represented by advocacy groups like LGBTQ+ legal advocates and defenders, and the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. In response to the ruling, Jennifer Levi of GLAD said, quote, "Today's ruling forcefully reiterates that health care access must be based on sound principles of medicine, not politics or bias," end quote. Meanwhile, there has been no official statement from Florida officials regarding the court's decision. Well, this is another good story because anything we can do to push back against Ron DeSantis, Rhonda, and his vile administration and laws and our draconian measures again is good news to me. And now it's been pushed back. This is the second or third time. I'm forgetting how many it is. It's at least twice. So it's just a relief to see it's not holding up in court, these bans.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the scariest things about these bans is Republicans, most likely a lot of them are voting for it with the assumptions the courts are going to strike them down. And they're doing this just as a way to try and get a quick vote and attack a marginalized group just for kicks, really, at the end of the day. They know they can't even get through.
Base.
Yeah. But the scary thing is the courts are getting more and more absurd. We just saw a Trump-appointed judge just throw out a case against the former president. Like, who knows where our courts are going to be in a few years?
Yeah.
I can't promise that, these crazy laws that they know, I think they're drag bans. I think they knew they were all going to get thrown out. But we don't know if that's going to be the case in a few years.
Yeah.
And that's where I wrote down, this is where voting comes in. This is literally where voting comes in, because I know a lot of people concentrate on presidential elections and governor elections, but we vote these court systems, we vote these judges in. Yeah. We vote all of these judges, all these circuit court judges, all of these local elections. They are extremely important. And to pay attention to your local constituents, to pay attention to those people is extreme. My parents have always taught me and brought me up that you vote in every election, Jamaal. You vote and you know who these people are and you study who these people are and you research them. And before I used to be like, but now I'm really understanding the entire process and how important it is. Yep. Because shout out to Robert Hinkle for actually, because when that came down from Governor DeSantis, it was a very huge blow to the trans community to not have access to vital medicine.
Pure evil. Pure evil.
Yeah. Listen, these people wanted us to have statistics, right? And the Trevor Project gives them these statistics every single year, right? And last year, just like every other year, they have said the percentage of youth, right, that don't receive gender-affirming care are thinking about suicide. And it was a horrible amount. It was like 9 out of 10 kids were thinking about that. And a big event had already tried, all right? We're losing our children. And the Trevor Project tells us that every day. The AMA listens to them, okay? Why can't this crazy ass Surgeon General listen? Okay, the American Medical Association agrees that gender-affirming care, okay, does not lead a kid to want to kill themselves. That should be all the data you need to make sure that these children aren't following through with such a horrible thing.
You would think politicians would care, but they tend to care about two statistics: how much donors they're going to give them and what the polling looks like. That's what they care about at the end of the day. I've seen this again, and this story is unfortunately a really horrific reminder of that.
Yeah. What's next, Alex?
Next up, let's queer up sports. Queer Thomas Jolly prepares spectacle, Paris Olympic opening ceremonies. The final touches are being applied to the spectacular opening and closing ceremonies of the Paris Olympic Games. Overseen by renowned French director Thomas Jolly, known for exploring LGBTQ themes in his work, these events promise to be memorable. Jolly, who lives with his boyfriend, shared insights about the opening and closing ceremonies in a recent Vogue magazine interview. The opening parade on July 26th will be held on the River Seine, while the closing ceremony, titled Records, will take place at the Stade de France on August 11. Rumors suggest Lady Gaga might perform. Jolly, 42, has dedicated 18 months to these preparations. Jolly's vision for the Paris 2024 ceremonies is the celebration of being alive and of living together. Jolly admits the ceremony might be, in his words, a little chaotic, but it will be successful only if everyone feels represented in it. Jolly told Le Monde, upon his appointment as the artistic director, everyone deserves access to culture, regardless of their location. Growing up near Rion and studying at the National Theatre of Brittany, Jolly founded his own theater company in 2006. His innovative productions have earned acclaim, including a reimagined Romeo and Juliet for the Paris Opera House and a gender-themed Starmania. Jolly's creative intention for the opening ceremony, being Barges on the Stein, is the centerpiece of NBC's commercials starring Steven Spielberg, by him saying, "You were going to see something revolutionary and never seen before." All the vision of queer artist Thomas Jolly. It's an interesting story considering it's the first positive news I've seen of the Paris Olympics. Not only do the Olympics have actually a very disturbing history of being a way of dictatorships to prop themselves up from Berlin in 1933, but also China and Russia today, and their history of what they describe as anything political, including finding ways to remove trophies of Black Americans who've shown any just concern for the way our countries treat Black people. I've always had a little bit of a bee in my bonnet when dealing with the Olympics. But also, I think the most interesting Olympic Paris story is, speaking of the Seine River, I'd been reading that Parisians are looking to defecate in the Seine, and I didn't know why. It's because of the Olympics. That's their way of protesting the Olympics. I'm like, oh my goodness, poor Thomas Jolly on dealing with
What a protest. Wow.
Oh,
Okay, I've never been someone that has been into the Olympics either, to be completely honest, Alex, right? But last year when we started, it was, a couple of years ago, we started talking about all the out athletes and stuff like that, right? I started supporting because of that, right? We support each other in that, and then this came up, and then they said, okay, the 3 French drag queens are going to bring the light of the torch, right? And it's Nikki Doll and who's the other girl? Miss Martini and Mini Majesti. I thought that was such a great way to kick this off on a happier note, right?
Yeah.
And try not to think of all the crap, effed up stuff that they've done in history.
Yeah.
It's very queer.
Yeah.
It really is. it's, the Olympics are very queer.
They are, yeah, there's no doubt. And also, I've heard, and it's been said that Celine Dion allegedly is going to perform at the opening ceremony.
Oh.
I mean,
wow.
I
was happy with Lady Gaga, but that's huge.
Because she said that she is thinking about going on tour, which is, of course, a major thing since her diagnosis of her stiff person syndrome, after singing at the Olympics. So we'll see.
I'm still stuck on what Alex said about the pooping in the. Because I've been hearing about it. I'm still stuck on that. I'm sorry.
I remember hearing it before, and then I Googled. I was like, "Are there protests?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's."
Because the French people don't play when it comes down to protest. They do
They don't.
They don't play when it
clearly.
comes down to protest.
It's got a lot.
I will. Steven Spielberg literally talked about revolution. I'm like, well, yeah, that happens in Paris occasionally.
Occasionally, of course.
But I'm loving this Thomas Jolly. To bring it back to that, Thomas Jolly, a queer artist, was tapped to do the creative direction. I think he said the word chaotic was in there, but I wrote down interconnected play of productions and experiences. I can see a queer artist. I don't know Thomas Jolly's work, but from queer perspective, I'm pretty sure we're going to have some great representation in there. And we're going to have some great entertainment. And going off of the story that we just talked about with Africa and talking about how important representation, the Olympics is an international, worldwide, and people really do get pride out of this in other countries.
Yeah.
This is something that's very deep. So to see, I'm curious as to see what comes up and what comes out, but I'm pretty sure that this opening ceremony will be very impactful as far as a worldwide impact goes for LGBTQ plus people in general.
Yeah. And chaos, isn't that a normal backstage anywhere you're at where there's at least one queer person, there's going to be chaos.
There's beauty in chaos.
There's beauty.
You rein the chaos in, and it's beautiful, and you show it. And it's kaleidoscopic.
Very
Kaleidoscope is very chaotic, and it's beautiful.
Very true. Tonight's broadcast is presented by viewers like you and the generous support by Visit Lauderdale, everyone under the sun.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we're broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at Happening Out Television Studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News, let's queer up drag culture. Celebrating International Drag Day on June 16th. On July 16th, International Drag Day honors the long-standing tradition of drag performances. From Shakespeare's Globe Theater to modern-day TV, drag has entertained us for centuries. Drag emerged in the U.S. in the 1800s, flourishing in early 1900s cabarets and theaters. South Florida boasts a dynamic LGBTQ plus community and a lively drag scene. Visit iconic venues like Gathering Bar, Our House Wynwood, The Palace, Lips, Twists, Nathan's Beach Club, and Wilton Drive's Alibi, and The Pub, to celebrate our drag queens, including Queer News Tonight's anchor, Bonnie Builder. Shout out to Bonnie. And interesting fact, my ex is Trinity K. Bonet. So,
I don't think I ever knew that.
yeah, my name is tattooed right here. She'll tell you. Jamal.
She will tell you. All right. Loving my queens, sending love to Cece Glitzer, Tiana Love, Nicole T. Phillips, Velva Lenore, Lady Marissa, Juicy Dion, Erica Norell, TP Lords, London Adore, Aaliyah J, Kelly Raspberry, Auntie Mame, Amanda Austin, Vaz Allen, Athena Dion. Athena don't need it. She got mad money. It's okay.
Right.
Juicy Dion and a whole lot more. And I
Daisy
just wrote,
Dead Petals,
and Daisy Dead Petals, and Daisy Dead Petals. I said TP Lords. I just mentioned just a few of our incredible local South Florida drag queens that are our foundation. All right. The reason that I started the FayWhat show was to give certain people a spotlight, right, in our community. And the drag queens were the first ones. The drag queens are our freaking foundation. All right. There's no gay event without there being some kind of drag entertainment, right? It's like we can always count on drag to entertain us. And it's such a wonderful, beautiful art. Way before Drag Race came about, it was something that was existing and it was something that was entertaining our community in small, dark spaces before it was allowed out into the light, and before RuPaul put it on national TV. It was part of our community, and it will always be. Right?
Right.
Right. All right.
What she said.
What she said. LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up Black culture. The Trevor Project gets a new CEO. The Trevor Project announced James Black as its new CEO. Black, an accomplished leader with decades of experience in coalition building and fundraising, is the first Black and non-binary individual to hold this position. Black, who identifies as a non-binary lesbian, assumed the role today on July 15th. Co-founder Peggy Roshsky, who served as interim CEO since 2022, will now serve as a special advisor to the CEO during the transition. You know, we say here all the time, representation matters, and this is just one of those cases, you know. So congratulations to them for getting appointed in this place. We need you, right? And they also come from a background of helping Black LGBTQ plus youth. So that's exactly what you need to be focusing on right now, James Black. And James, by the way, uses she, her and he and they pronouns. So you can't mess
And
it up
they
at
are
all, just to let you know.
beautiful.
And they are beautiful.
That picture slayed.
Yeah.
Baby.
You know,
Yes.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. You know, I've not met James Black, but I've met many people in the Trevor Project, and as someone who's worked in the nonprofit LGBTQ advocacy space, the Trevor Project is one of the few nonprofits that does a tangible thing of helping everyday people in the queer community. I've always given them so much props for that. Congratulations on the new role. I really, you're inheriting a very important role in a very important organization.
And bring a much needed new perspective to it. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. South Florida Pride concert band kicks off season with DeLaria on November 9th. The South Florida Pride concert band kicks off its 2024-25 season with an evening with DeLaria on November 9th at the Amaturo Theater. Celebrated jazz vocalist, comedian, actress, and actress DeLaria will join the band with a special intermission performance by the South Florida Pride Steel Band. Details about the 2025 season 14 of the Pride Youth Band are also out. Visit southfloridaprideband.org for more information. Well, I think this is fantastic. I've loved DeLaria a long time. And
Before Orange is the New Black?
Yeah, before that. Many years, many decades. We go way back. But an amazing talent. I love the fact that she's a jazz singer. That just floats my boat. I love
Right,
it.
like I would have never known that,
It was
right?
such a trip.
You know, that
was
really
comic,
aligns.
And then you're right. It was like, oh, wow, she sang.
And she's got an amazing voice.
Really good.
DeLaria is hilarious. I would watch her do her freaking taxes. That's the bottom line. I mean, she's just funny, Her faces are funny, her mannerisms are funny, and then she opens her mouth and you are cracking up. So, I mean, even if she's just with them for intermission, I would be all about it, right? Just saying.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up trans rights. Simon Cowell invites trans men to boy band auditions. Simon Cowell has launched auditions for a new boy band and is reportedly inviting trans men to participate. Cowell aims to replicate the success of One Direction, formed in 2010 from his singing competition. Following a lackluster initial turnout of just 40 attendees at the Liverpool auditions on July 7, Cowell is broadening his search. A source told The Sun that his inclusivity could be a game changer. Auditions will continue in Dublin on July 28th and 29th, with more dates in London scheduled. The first thing I read, thought of this was, what do you mean you're just now letting trans people in, Simon? Like, what, WTF? Like, I really have no tolerance for people that just woke up to this today. But then I, really had to keep my face from not cracking up laughing, too. 40 people is his first audition, Simon.
People.
How the mighty has fallen.
Right?
Like, oh my goodness.
Well, but that was my first thought too, was this dick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I already thought you were a dick from American Idol, and how long ago was that, right? But then this just puts sprinkles on the dick cake that you are. You're allowing our trans brothers to, what?
Right.
Dale?
No, sometimes I like dick, but a dick cake sounds quite good to me. But I realize you're talking about a totally different kind of dick
Yes, sir.
cake.
Yeah.
One that might be shat upon in the sand. Harken back to another story. The sand, the river in Paris.
No, I get it.
I also don't. How does he necessarily even know that he has not been including trans people? First of all,
you don't need to give us a pass.
Right.
How dare you give anybody in our community the pass? You know what I mean? Like you said, there probably has been you know what? The trans men didn't want to be one of the 40 people that came to your freaking audition. They went to the one down the street that had 3,000. Right. That's where all the talent was, all right? Sorry, dude, all right? It's over. Your time is over. It's done, Bobby. You're gone. You're fired, and all that kind of, I could use a million other ways, okay? 40 people? I had more people come up to my audition for the Boy in Bed for the FayWhat show.
Well, on that, that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community and the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, happening out television network and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat! And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Jamaal Starks, Dale Stine, and Alex Morash. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. into our LGBTQ plus world. We wish you good night.